Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. And yeah, I'm doing a little bit more camping, and me and Major, my St. Bernard pup, is out here and enjoying some woods for a couple of days. And as always, sometimes when I go on these trips, I like to test out some new stuff that I've bought or had and haven't had a chance to beat on, and some stuff I bring just because I want to bring it, you know. And one of the things I wanted to do a little bit of work with and kind of have high hopes for is this here Tomahawk. Now, I did a video on the fine Tomahawks that Devin Price makes over there at Tomahawks, and so if you want to get a little bit more information about it, check out that video. This is the larger of the two Tomahawks that I got. This is called the Voyager, and it has a little bit bigger head on there, and it throws real well, which is the only thing I've really done with this thing so far. So thought I would have a go at this old rotten tree behind me. Well, I'll say dead, I won't say rotten, as it's pretty solid. Alright, so that's one thing, and another thing I wanted to mess with a little bit is this here knife from Tops. And I'm not real sure, I can't see the viewfinder that well, but this is the Power Eagle. And if you go and look on their website about this knife, you know it has a 12-inch blade, and it's made out of 5160 spring steel, so it should be pretty resilient. Now, the guy that designed the knife says that he got his inspiration from the bolo and from the kukri. Well, I'm not really seeing the kukri influence in this thing, but I am seeing the bolo. It looks like a pretty good solid bolo. Now, it has a pretty thick stock, and once again, I'm not real sure that shows up, but it looks like it's just about 1/4 inch, and I think that's what it said on the website. But at any rate, that's got a good feeling handle. It's also got this new this bungee material, and I'll show you all this bungee material to use as a lanyard, so to speak, and we're gonna take a look and see if that's worth a damn. I'm not real keen on that. Now, the sheath is a ballistic nylon sheath, and it has the capability of MOLLE attachment on the back. And as far as sheaths go, it has a nice plastic insert. It's okay. The retention strap is Velcro. I'm not a real big fan of that. But one thing that I do not like, and it may not have much to do with anything, I don't like that. I don't like the knife being able to move around like that. That's a personal preference thing, though. Looks like a fair quality sheath. Alright, so that's the two things that we're going to mess with. Now, this here dead tree is leaning, and I'm on a hill. It's kind of sloping down this way, okay? So, looking at this tree, when it was fighting for sunlight, it has moved, it's sort of leaning like this a little bit, okay? So, if you're going to mess around and cut on some stuff that could potentially hurt you, right? Well, use what the tree is telling you. This tree is heading in that direction, so I'm going to chop over here so it will fall in that direction. Okay. Not only that, my camp is right up there, so it's falling in the right direction. Now, when you're using something like a hawk or one of those small axes like the Wetterlings or the Grand Forest Brooks small forest axe, which is very popular amongst bushcrafters. A little piece of advice that I'll give you is don't try to cut too low. Okay? Don't try to cut too low. I don't know what this is going to be like when I start chopping on this thing, but I'm expecting it to be very tough going. Okay? This is a hardwood tree, and it's solid, and it's had plenty of time to dry out. And even though the bark is rotten on this thing, the wood is good and solid. So, another thing is to give it a push and see if you can't push the thing over. Some cases you can. It might be a little rotten around the base, which I've already tried to do, and it ain't moving around but so much. I can't push it over. Now this here tree is probably, I don't know, 5 to 6 inches in diameter at most. So I'm going to cut my main cut with the Tomahawk, and then I'm going to do my back cut, okay, with the bola. And maybe we'll all get an idea on how these things perform. That there's some nice wood. I hate to burn this stuff. Alright, maybe I'll do some more on this end where you can see it with this thing right here, because I'll kind of want to make a point. This hardwood right here, and I mean this is hardwood, isn't cutting real easy, as you can see. Now this is a good big knife by anybody's standards, So let's get an idea what this thing will do. As y'all saw me having the difficult time cutting through that with the Hawk, let's see what it'll do with this big knife. Now remember, this is a 12-inch blade, 1/4 inch thick. Also has a full flat grind. And that's about all I want to mess with this thing right here. It's having almost no effect other than cutting some of the chips that I started with the Tomahawk. Now that Tomahawk there doesn't have a head on it that weighs as much as even a small axe like the Grand Forest Brooks, small forest axe. This right here has quite a bit of weight to it. And the design of the head is made for chopping, okay? But when you start messing around with dead wood that is hardwood, you know, it's easy for people to come on and say, hey man, I backpack 1,000 miles a week and all this other bullshit, and a big knife is the thing to have. That's all fine and good. But if you really need to get fuel for a sustaining fire, and you want to mess with pieces of wood that's this size right here, and like I said, this is in that maybe 5-6 inches. Big knife, well, it can get it done, but if you want to talk about burning calories, you're going to burn a ton of calories. All right? Even a big hawk like this right here, okay, is having difficulty with this tree. So you can take it for what you will. I suggest you get out and try a little bit of it. One more thing I'll add, and I'll end this video, is that when you're making your first cut, you want to go just a little bit better than halfway through, okay? Then when you come back around for your back cut, you want to make that cut above this here center line. Now, what I tried to do was make this bottom right here more straighter and this more sloping. And by making a cut up around here a little bit higher, it makes like a hinge, okay? And so it's a little less likely to jump back on you when it comes out. Now this thing's only about 20 feet at the most tall, and there's no branches or anything on it. It looked like the top of the tree broke out, but that will allow you to had this tree fall and less likely to injure yourself. So I'm going to end that with this. I may cut a little bit on the back here just to show you where I'm talking about. All right, now you start getting that back cut started. You ought to push on this thing every now and then to see if you can get it to quit. I've got a long ways to go before this thing is going to give up on me. There ain't no need for y'all to sit around and watch me sweat. All right, folks, thank you for watching. And as always, shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.